Preparation for the United Nations Association's Test of English.
Question 1. What is meant by the Asian Century? This essay consists of 4 paragraphs. 1. East Asia and South Asia. 2. Pro-Asian observers. 3.1. Border disputes. 3.2. Anti-China. 4. Intra-regional differences and conflicts.
1. East Asia and South Asia. The Asian century is the notion that the international community of the 21st century has been increasingly dominated by Asian political, security, and economic activities, and that this trend is likely to grow stronger as the century proceeds. It parallels the characterization of the 19th century as the British century and the 20th century as the American century. Here, Asia is meant to be mostly East Asia, Northeast and Southeast, and some part of South Asia, arguably India.
2. Pro-Asian observers. It is Asia's robust economic development in the recent past that has presented the strongest case for the possibility of an Asian century. Some pro-Asian observers argue that the region's developmental performance has induced spillover effects of altering the power distribution in global politics. In addition to the configuration of military power, some of the Asian countries may have held global leadership in other areas, such as diplomacy, trade and investment, technology, communications, and the like.
3.1. Border disputes. The political position of China, globally and regionally, and to a lesser extent India, as well as the ASEAN group, is the most notable factor that has raised the Asian profile. However, Asia also contains many factors that have complicated the region's profile. After all, Asia is a geographical region, lacking clear demarcations, and many regional members have suffered from troubling border disputes.
3.2. Anti-China. The region is also highly diverse in socio-cultural and linguistic makeups. In this regard, Australia and New Zealand, both of which are anti-China and prefer arm's-length relations with Asian neighbors, have complicated the integration process.
4. Intra-regional differences and conflicts. In conclusion, as long as some intra-regional differences and conflicts remain, the robust Asian century, as a cohesive dynamic center, may be more notional rather than real.
Preliminary note: in the light of the Asian century, the United States exhibited a sharply contrasting shift in its foreign policy, from the Obama administration, 2009 to 2017, to the Trump administration, 2017 to 2021. Question 2. Compare and contrast the Obama administration and the Trump administration in their respective foreign policy toward Asia, particularly East Asia. This essay consists of 5 paragraphs. 1. Rebalance policy. 2. NAFTA. 3. TPP. 4. Opposition to the TPP. 5. Influence of China.
1. Rebalance policy. When President Obama took office in 2009, the U.S. foreign policy was burdened with the lingering legacy of the protracted war in the Middle East, Southwest Asia, as well as the global economic uncertainty in the aftermath of the world financial crisis, 2007 to 2008. The Obama administration put forward the idea to rebalance foreign policy by shifting the U.S. overseas engagement towards prosperous East Asia.
2. NAFTA. The Obama administration wanted to have the greater engagement of the North American Free Trade Agreement members with some of the Asian Growth Center countries, while maintaining its traditional allies of Australia and New Zealand. The administration pledged to sustain close security and military relations with Asian allies, covering broadly Western and Southern Pacific and the Indian Ocean, despite substantial cutbacks in overall U.S. defense spending. 3. TPP. President Obama and his economic advisors stressed that US jobs depended on freer access to Asian Pacific markets. Given the backdrop of stalled progress in the Doha Round, under the auspices of the World Trade Organization, the US devoted extraordinary attention to the completion of the Trans-Pacific Partnership Arrangement. Conspicuously, the TPP excludes China.
4. Opposition to the TPP. During the 2016 presidential campaign, Trump expressed his opposition to the TPP as a tenet of his election platform, which contributed to his popularity. He made it clear that he would withdraw the US from the TPP if elected, arguing that the agreement would undermine the US economy and its independence. His strategy was putting America first through bilateral deals, so as to bring jobs and industry back onto US shores. 5. Influence of China. Consequently, one of the very first executive orders of President Trump, in January 2017, was the US withdrawal from the TPP, which had been signed, but was waiting for the congressional ratification prior to Trump's inauguration. The withdrawal from the TPP was criticized, because the treaty was designed, among others, to contain the economic and geostrategic influence of China.
Japan's presence has been waning in the Asian century, but it seems that it is highly evaluated for its measures against COVID-19.
Thank you for watching. Have a good one. Cheers.